In this cauldron of fiery wills and burning competition, rivalries heat up quicker. This is an oval of stolen victories and crushed dreams, filled with volumes of unfinished business. Sooner or later, you all become rivals. With everyone fighting over one finish line, there's never enough glory to go around.
Hello and welcome back to Pit Stop Insider TV. I'm alongside Zach Lindgren up in the booth one more time for the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series. Tonight we're here at Kansas, Zach. We got 105 laps ahead of us, multiplied by 1.5. We got something like 200 miles, 200 and something miles anyway, here at Kansas Speedway. So, you know, it's the second race of round 2 of the chase over here in the Manifold Truck Series. There's 3 rounds overall, 2 4-race rounds leading up to their final round ending at Homestead. And after last week at Talladega, there's a lot of guys really looking to try and make a comeback here tonight, huh?
Yeah, it was a crazy week last week at, I almost said Phoenix, at Talladega. We saw the big one happen early, take out a few good drivers, some drivers in contention for the championship, and then field strategy right there at the end. It was a crazy race to watch, and it was a fun one to watch. If you haven't watched it yet, go back a week and take a view at it. But I mean, it shook up the standings a lot. A lot of people that we didn't expect are right there in contention for it, and man, I can't wait to see how tonight shakes out.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, we even see it on the NASCAR side. After Talladega, these guys are playing catch-up. And, you know, this is actually the first year in NASCAR with this new chase format where there's rounds that Talladega isn't the elimination race. So we're going to see something here that we're going to see also on Sunday with these guys playing catch-up after Talladega, trying to keep themselves alive. So it's definitely going to be interesting. We got a big field here tonight, actually. 18 trucks and building, I believe. We got some new guys, such as Bradley P. Wilson, Jeff Swice, also noticed Joey Gattina out there. So a lot of new guys that we haven't seen yet this season, or at least not with one of our broadcasts. So it's going to shake things up a little bit, but just like normal, we have those guys like Chris Jennings, Joe Hudson, Aiden Young already top 3 in qualifying.
Yeah, some of the faster guys in the league are that usually put in a good lap time every time they go out to qualify, or every time they go to put down a lap, already up there. But you know, this is what we kind of expected. But I mean, we might see something different, kind of like last week at Talladega. We might see some more shakeups.
That's for sure. And we've got another driver, make it 20 drivers now. Josh Chaney and Jeff Gilmore finally hit the track, got laps in. There's going to be a lot of pink out in the field. Definitely a lot of pink. I know all the TN Designs guys are running pink trucks tonight, and I saw plenty of others out there, I believe, such as guys like, let's see. Honestly, actually, I can't remember the numbers, but there were quite a few trucks out there that were just loaded up with pink. I mean, it's crazy how supportive these guys are of the breast cancer awareness effort, as always, in the NASCAR community. So it's always awesome to see. As we near the end of qualifying, though, we've got 20 guys, I believe, who have turned a time. And currently, like we mentioned, Chris Jennings, Joe Hudson, Aiden Young up top, followed by Matthew Cox, Mike Kelly, Scott Brotherton, Blake O'Connell, Louis Robinette, Jeff Gilmore, and Mike Montesi currently making up your top 10. We've got about a minute and a half left of qualifying, I believe. Zach, I'll let you take the next 10.
Yeah, as of right now, like you said, we got a minute and a half left of qualifying, but as of right now, we got Josh Chaney in 11th, Scott Simile. Hey, I actually got that name right this week. Yay me. Scott Simile in the 12th position, Joey Katina. Yeah, I believe in the 13th position, Kurt Rittenberg in the 14th, Mike A. Perry in the 15th position, Jeff Swiss. I'm sorry if I butchered that name in the 16th. James McKee in 17th, Bradley P. Wilson 18th, Mike Payton 19th, and rounding out the last person to take the time, Cody Spiker in the 20 position.
All right, well, Zach, I'm going to have to leave it to you for just a few minutes, and I'll be right back. But we got the race starting here in just a few, ladies and gentlemen. Zach has the call.
Oh, boys, I'm getting ready for one heck of a race tonight. I mean, we got fast cars up in front. We got fast cars in the back. We're just going to have to see. I believe the whole field, as of right now, is separated by 0.3 of a second. From 1st to 20th is separated by 0.3. From 1st to 10th, it's separated by 1/10. That's how close these times are going to be. So expect a lot of on top of each other racing. Expect a lot of possibly even drafting at this track. This track on iRacing's been known to kind of have kind of like a Daytona Talladega feel to it. If you get out of the drafter at one point, or you get a little aero damage, you might, hinder yourself. So be looking for that. But yeah, as of right now, the top 20 separated by 0.3 of a second. As qualifying comes to an end, Chris Jennings will sit on pole. Outside row will be Joe Hudson in second. Aiden Young will take the third place. Inside second row, Matthew Cox will take fourth. Mike Kelly will take fifth. Scott Brotherton will take sixth. Blake O'Connell will take 7th, Louis Robinette will take 8th, Jeff Gilmore 9th, Mike Montesi 10th, Josh Cheney 11th, Scott Simile 12th, Joey Katina, I apologize, I'm going to say Gatina 13th, Kurt Rittenberg 14th, Mike A. Perry 15th, Jeff Swiss, I apologize about that one too, 16th, James McKee 17th, Bradley P. Wilson 18th, Mike Payton 19th, and Cody Spiker 20th. As we get ready to roll, we've got about a minute left of gridding. These guys are getting ready to take the green, or not take the green flag, but take the track. But right now in the points, I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but right now in the points, we've got Jeremy Rittenberg, Kurt Rittenberg, top 2 sitting right now in points. If their chase were to end right this minute, those two would be top 2 going into it. Jeremy Bazemore and David Dolliver would be your championship 4 if it were to end right now. Chris Jennings, who has just set the pole, is sitting 5th. Doug McCollum 6th. Matthew Cox 7th, and Mike A. Perry 8th. Right now, those bottom 4, if it were to end, would be eliminated. But we still, I believe, got 3 more races to go, counting this one. So we might see a winner put himself into the championship for this race. We might not. We're just going to have to see how it shakes down as we get ready to roll. Gridding is about done now. How are you doing tonight? I'm able to look on the Facebook side. If you got any comments or any suggestions, let us know and we'll get you right to it. As we get ready to roll, I believe we're coming off of pit road right now. Like I said before, Chris Jennings is sitting outside the advance position in the chase. He's sitting just outside of it in 5th. Joe Hudson, outside pole sitter, will be starting 2nd. Aiden Young 3rd. Matthew Cox 4th. Mike Kelly 5th. Mike Kelly also sitting outside of it. My apologies. Matthew Cox is sitting outside of it. No, both of them are sitting outside of it. I apologize, folks. But as we get ready to go racing here, I believe we're coming to 1 to green now as the pace car is getting ready to dive off. Pace car does dive off. The 88 getting ready to set the field. We're getting ready to go green here at Kansas Speedway.
Green.
Here we go. Green flag's out. The 88 will take the start. The 12 will be on his outside. The 88 gets a good start, but the 12 is sticking with him on the high side. Aiden Young didn't really get a good start as the 12 moves down low. Looking to the inside of the 88 going into turn 1. 88 will block. And let's see how the rest of the field's shaking out. As we look back to Aiden Young, gets stuck on the high side, splitting 3 wide already. The 04 charging himself to the lead already. he's not really taking any prisoners. He wants to get those positions as they settle back out too wide. Aiden Young stuck out on the high side as the 2 and the 04 go by him, and the 67 of Blake O'Connell as well go by him. We got a whole scene about the top 7 as we drop back to the back here a little bit. We look at the 30, or from my point of view, the 30 of Louis Robinette, taking 3 wide again, just on his quarter pedal was the 68 of Scott Simile. Almost got into the back of him, but we stay going, we stay green. Man, we got action packed right now as the front 5 kind of have leveled out. Chris Jennings will lead the first 2 laps of this race with Joe Hudson close on his tail. It hasn't looked like he's been able to get away. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if the track starts to kind of level out and everybody starts to go to the high side. That's one of the other features here at Kansas is you can run the low side for about a minute or 2 or a lap or 2. And then after that, trucks start going to the high side or the vehicles start going to the high side and you get enormous runs coming out of the corner. So it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers are going to be able to manage that and how they're going to be able to ride up there. How many positions they could pick off on it. As we see the leaders go to the top already, the 88 and the 12 follow each other up to the high side, kind of dive it off from the middle of the corner to try to get a run out, as the 2 of Mike Kelly has pulled up to the rear bumper of Joe Hudson. Everyone's kind of leveled out right now. Everyone's kind of fallen into a gap. They're starting to get into their rhythm. It's going to be interesting to see how aggressive some of these drivers that are outside right now, that are on the motor of the chase, might be. They might get a little bit too aggressive, or they might just be the right amount of aggressive to get themselves a win. It's possible to see, but it's going to be interesting to see too how this plays out. And last week we had a green flag run at Talladega. It might be interesting to see how long these guys can last. It's going to be fun to see if this comes down to another fuel race again. We look back up to the front, and it looks like Chris Jennings is pulling away just a little bit. He's got about a 4/10 lead, or excuse me, a 4. I apologize. A 4/10 of a second lead over Joe Hudson. And then from there, everyone's just kind of bunched up from second back down to about 5th, 6th. Everyone's just kind of bunched up. And then from there on, it just kind of spread out again. So right now, everyone's gone to the top. Everyone's kind of running their line. Everyone's kind of running their race. Let's see if Chris Jennings can pull away, or if Joe Hudson or these guys behind him can pull him back in. Let me take a look at the standings one more time. As of right now, if the race were to end right now, and I believe these guys are a win and you're in type here, if the race were to end right now, Chris Jennings would be in the final 4. He has a strong truck right now, but Matthew Cox and Mike Kelly are also on the outside looking in. They would love to see that W as well to put themselves into the final 4. Some drivers that are in as of right now, if it were to end right now. Kurt Rittenberg right now sitting 16th. He's kind of running around some of these guys right now. I think he's just might be biding his time. Not really forcing anything. He knows he's got a good gap. He's just got to maintain it. David Dolliver right now running 22nd. He just kind of looks like he's just riding as well, not really forcing anything. Jeremy Rittenberg, who did not take his time. Let me see. Sorry, folks, it looks like I'm not able to go back to Jeremy here. I believe there's one more driver. Should be one more. Jeremy Bazemore. I'm not seeing him out here on the field. That's going to hurt him even harder in the points. Right now, he's just above that cutoff. But, if I'm not mistaken, he is above that cutoff. But, with him missing this race, this could hurt him harder in the points, and he's going to have to really race a little bit harder as it comes down to it going into Homestead. If I take a look back up front, the 88 and the 12 are pretty much right on the wall. The 2 sticking with the 12, but these guys are pretty much right on the wall right now as they kind of, you know, they're still singled out, but it looks like the 12 is getting just a little bit more of a run on the 88. The 12 is backing up his corners just a little bit to get a good run out as the 2's looking to his inside.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
On the speedway. Let me see if I can go to the back and take a look and see where it was. Ooh, it looks like Louis Robinette was involved. Let's see who else might have been involved. Looks like coming out of the tri-oval, Robinette gets into the wall and slows down the pack behind him. They just kind of piled up after that. Trying to get a good entry into turn one. No harm, no foul, it looks like from here. Yeah, just the 30 gets into the wall, and the car behind him, I believe that's the 68 at the time. Let me check real quick, hold on. 30 gets into the wall, and one lucky driver to escape that was Kurt Rittenberg. He was actually on the inside of the 30 who got into the wall. If Kurt would have gotten into that, he possibly could have taken a hit in the points, but he was able to escape it and not take any damage from it. So congrats on him. Let's see, I believe the 68 was involved. Yeah, the 30 just got into the wall and got slowed up. 68 got into the back of him, and someone else got into the back of the 68. Let me see who that was. It was the 5 of James McKee gets into the back of the 68. And then the 10 of Mike A. Perry also gets into it. If I'm not mistaken, he's also in the hunt for it, so that might be bad on him. Let's see if he's able to get his truck back out there and running again. Don't want to take a hit in the points right now. As we cycle out to the pits, Mike Payton will take the lead from Chris Jennings. Mike Payton will lead the first laps away from Chris Jennings under caution. I'm sorry, folks. Can't get an eye on the trucks. I apologize about that. Hold on just 1 second.
Alright, apologies. Looks like we haven't had Zach for a few minutes. But I'm back. Like I said, apologies there. I don't know what happened with the cameras because we just got back. I swear I clicked TV 3-4 times to just let it cycle while I wasn't here, and I come back and it's on sync.
Yeah, we got a comment just a little while ago saying they couldn't see the trucks.
So yeah, I apologize there because I tell you, I had clicked on Chris Jennings and both Chris Jennings and Aiden Young about 3-4 times, and TV2 about 3-4 times, and I come back and it's not even close. So that's not our bad. You guys are coming to 1 to green though. I'm back anyways. So that whole situation is sorted out, and we're back to how we normally are. Currently, it doesn't look like it's too great of a night for here in Rittenberg. As I'm catching back, I'm catching back up. I don't even know what just happened. So,
the 30 got into the wall. The 30 of Louis Robinette got into the wall, and the group behind him checked up. Well, tried to check up, but got into him. The 10 of Mike A. Perry, who I believe is below the cut line right now, got into it. He is scored 14 seconds behind the leader, but he did have a significant amount of damage.
Alright then, so on this restart here, as we prepare for the restart here, with about 90 laps to go, we're going to go on board with Bradley P. Wilson. It's his first start over here in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series, but he certainly knows his way around the trucks. We're going to go on board with him in the Oil Can Hancock's Quality Goods truck.
As the 88 takes off.
Green flag.
Yeah, there they go. Clean restart so far. Of course, I'm a little bit behind, so I'm not totally caught up with things if it's been a messy race at all. But we'll get back to our normal routine here. Coming out of turn 2, Bradley Wilson on the top side, trying to battle with the 4 of Josh Cheney to his inside to back up to the lead, where it's a bit more exciting, I would hope. We got Chris Jennings trying to defend the lead from Joe Hudson, and it looks like Mike Kelly in tow.
Yeah, the 12 has been able to stick with the 88, and the 2's been able to stick with the 12. So we've actually had about a 3-car battle for the lead every lap. They haven't really been side by side, but they have been on top of each other. You could have thrown a blanket under them.
Yeah, and that's nothing unusual for some of these guys. Is normally we'll see 1 or 2 guys that generally dominate one race or the next, but it's always pretty close racing, aside from that 1-over race where Mike Kelly pulled away with just a humongous lead over the whole field. But now we see Joe Hudson trying to use that draft. This isn't Talladega or Daytona, obviously, but it's similar in that there's a draft and these guys are mostly wide open. So you can still use the draft to your advantage, as we see Joe Hudson trying to do down the back straightaway in turn 3. He's trying to use the pull from the 88 to get up to him and try and make the pass. It's going to be hard, though, because as soon as you get back into clean air, all the air that hits your nose, it's drag. It's going to slow you down, so just basic aerodynamics there. But we see Chris Jennings might have touched the wall there on entry to 1.
Yeah, it's hard to pass anywhere but the high side. If you got to try to pass it on the low side, you either got to pull a slide job, or you really got to have a really good vehicle down on the low side after the first 2 laps after a restart, because the high side just comes into such a big play as the run goes on.
Yeah, for sure. I think here in just a few laps, yeah, we are already seeing it. Chris Jennings, Joe Hudson, Mike Kelly, all to the top side. Mike Kelly is trying to use that bottom line a little bit on exit. That's something I found. This is iRacing. There's all kinds of official races, so we get our experience even outside the broadcast booth at this place. And I've done some C-Fix races. In other words, basically what these guys have here, but for a shorter duration. And I did some C-Fix races earlier this week, won one of them, and one thing I found that really made it easier to pull up on guys that I was trying to race was doing exactly what we're seeing Mike Kelly start to do, where he's running up high in the first part of the corner, and then about center starts to turn the wheel left and get that run out of the corner, effectively making the back straightaway longer, because he has that initial turn to go low in the center of the corner between 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, and then the wheel's mostly straight for the rest of the back straightaway all the way to the next corner. So it's effectively making the straightaway longer and cutting out a little bit of the distance actually from the top side.
And he's able to get that run going too. He's able to get a run going into the next corner and down the back straightaway. And like you were saying earlier, this track does play a little bit in the draft. So if you're able to get a run and you're able to get a little bit of draft, you're able to get a huge run on the guy in front of you, possibly make a pass. But like we were talking about just a little while ago, it's hard to get a pass here on anything but the high side. Excuse me.
Yeah, so I want to mention the sparks that we just saw from the 88. It looks like maybe the connection isn't completely stable. The sparks we saw there from the 88 up front, showering down across the front ends of the 12 and the 2, is merely the internet part of iRacing. It's something to actually pay attention to. It's just a bit of connection issue there. It's basically he's not actually hitting the wall when that happens, because there is space between his truck and the wall. So it's, like I said, it's just part of the internet part of iRacing.
Yeah, as we have a little bit of blinkage here and there, and blinking is when the driver does not have, I don't want to say a bad connection to the host, but doesn't have the best of connections to the host. And that's, I mean, that happens on occasion, and usually the internet's able to settle itself back out. It's going to be, we're going to have to see if these drivers are able to overcome that and drive their line and drive their truck.
For sure. Well, I'd like to turn our attention here to a battle a little ways behind the leaders. It's between the 57 of Jeff Gilmore, the 3 of Scott Brotherton, and the 9 of Aiden Young. I've been watching these guys kind of in the background while we were watching the leaders, and they're really mixing it up back here. We see Aiden Young trying to work the bottom side, not really working just yet. Scott Brotherton using the top side to his advantage. The reason you'll see these guys go to the top side, there's 2 reasons really, is the trucks start to get tight and then loose on the bottom, and so they're a little bit more uncontrollable after the tires start to wear out. And also, when you run that top side, like these guys are doing, you carry more speed through the center of the corner, which means you're carrying more speed on exit, and you're actually going faster when you get to the straight part of the track. So it's the longer way around that top side.
Aiden's losing it, gets into the 66. Both of them save it, but Aiden almost lost it coming out of turn 4, gets into the right rear of Bradley P. Wilson. They're able to keep it straight, but man, that was a close call for both of those drivers.
Yeah, that was pretty close there. I saw that as I was talking about the high side there. Coming out turn 4, they got a little bit close. There might have been some net code, but looks like a little bit of damage to the right rear fender of the 66. And looks like the 9's actually going to escape relatively fine. Doesn't look like too much damage went to either truck, but they certainly had a moment there.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's part of racing. There's nothing else I could say about that.
And as we were mentioning, and as we always mention, the internet part of iRacing, these guys go 3 wide down into turn 3.
Wow.
It's Scott Brotherton on the top side, Joey Gattina through the middle. Scott Brotherton's going to give that top side up, but that's Josh Cheney down on the bottom. I just want to mention Josh Cheney real quick. He was blinking a little bit there in the number 4 truck, and that's the internet part. It's just, connection not being totally perfect, so it's nothing to be worried about. It can be a little bit of a distraction, but the admins will get on it if it's too bad. But basically, it's just the connection having a couple impurities, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I know. Oh, and the 3's in the wall, gets into Aiden Young. We got a wreck. The 00, the 3, the 9.
And we saw that one as we were following Aiden Young. That was a big moment. I don't see a caution yet.
Not yet. We're staying green. Aiden Young down pit road. The 00 might also be coming down pit road, but we're still green.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy right there. We're going to go to our blimp camera, see if we can't get another look at that. That was pretty insane. I mean, it's going to be hard to follow, but you see the 3 slowing down. The 9 just had nowhere to go. He had the 66 ahead of him. We'll go on board now with the 9. Show you what I'm talking about there. We're going to be coming out of turn 2 here, so watch up ahead. It's hard for Aiden Young to really know what's going on, and sorry, that wasn't the 66 ahead of him, that was the 4. And it's hard to see what's going on in those split-second decisions. Aiden Young just didn't have the time to check up, and that's going to be his night pretty much done. I'm not sure about the 3 of Scott Brotherton. He's actually going to continue on. I don't think anyone else got too bad damage. I know Bradley Wilson narrowly escaped that one, so that's lucky for the 66. The 3 will be able to continue on, albeit with some damage. He's actually fallen all the way back into the clutches of Cody Spiker and Scott Simley battling for 11th, and he's going to lose another spot. Scott Simley cuts him a little bit close, but they keep going on. Matthew Mills right behind them. So it's definitely a little bit sketchy going right now for the 3. But if anything, he's a benefactor out of that situation.
I think the 66 is a lucky number. The 14, about a lap ago, the 14 and the 4 both got into the wall. The 4 got into the back of the 14, trying to slow up. And the 66 shot through the middle of the gap. Didn't hit any of them, but shot through the middle of the gap as the 14 gets into the wall again. But shot through it, gained 2 positions from it. His car's still clean. He got into a little bit of contact with Aiden Young. That 66 is on fire right now. Started 18th, currently 6th, looking to try to get his way into the top 5.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's really missed a lot of these incidents so far, just like Dale Jr. this past weekend at Talladega in the Real Series.
Hey.
So, it's kind of similar, honestly. When you miss things that close, you have to feel like something's going right for you. But real quick, I'm going to turn our attention over to the leader. Currently, we've got Chris Jennings checking out on the field by a 2nd and a 3rd over Blake O'Connell in 2nd place in the number 67. He's a name we haven't heard of the last couple of weeks, but he's a name we heard of before that. He's definitely one of the stronger guys in the series, and it's nice to see him getting back to his usual form, running up front as he gets into the wall. I guess that's the broadcaster's curse.
It's the broadcaster's curse, yep.
We were just talking good about him, and he gets up into the wall, but he'll be able to continue on, just lose his spots. He's all the way back into 5th now, and maybe falling into the clutches of Bradley Wilson before too long. So, kind of an unfortunate moment there for Blake O'Connell, but he'll continue on, and he's got a lot of space back to 6th place as he falls all the way back to 5th. But what I was going to do was run through the field, so now we'll jump all the way back up to 2nd now and talk about Joe Hudson in the Home Depot number 12 Chevy Silverado. He won back at Charlotte, so the last time these guys were at a mile and a half, he was the winner. So, we got to keep an eye on him. He's running up front, obviously. He's in 2nd place, so obviously he's doing something right. He knows what to do, and it's nice to see that. I don't want to say old man, but I guess if I was going to have to give him a nickname, it'd be the old man.
The old man.
He's not old by any means. He's definitely young at heart, but he didn't, I guess, dice words at all when he mentioned his age back at Charlotte when we interviewed him after the win. And it was really cool to see him, a fellow iRacer, get an actual real-world ride back at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park race in the NASCAR Cape World Truck Series. Over the summer, he was with Mark Harmon Racing, if you weren't here for the Charlotte broadcast. So that was pretty cool to see him get the ride, even if it wasn't the truck he wanted, even if it wasn't a very competitive ride by any means. It was very cool to see him get that chance and make the most of it. So, clearly he knows how to race. And actually, I was talking to some other guys from the league throughout the week, and they believe that he's one of the best out here, and it's just that the latest tire model changes to iRacing, have been hurting him. But moving on from the number 12, we'll go to 3rd place of Jeff Gilmore as he's starting to close in on the number 12. What can you tell us about Jeff, Zach?
Oh, right now he's running 3rd. He's running pretty spiffy right now, if you ask me. From what I'm noticing, everyone that's right now in the top 5, they're running there's about a line right next to the wall, and everybody's getting their right side tires right on that. But right now he is running 3rd. He's actually caught the 12 of Joe Hudson, excuse me. He's looking to the high side right now, trying to get a run on him, but he doesn't have that bad of a truck tonight. He might be able to get up there and challenge the 88. As we go to the 67 back and forth, what can you tell us about the 67 there, Andrew?
Well, real quick, before we go to Blake O'Connell, who's actually made his way back up into 4th place, I want to bring our attention to Jeremy Rittenberg, because I saw someone ask about him in the comments. From what Zach was telling me, and actually there's Jeremy Rittenberg right there. A perfect moment. We were going through the cameras and he was right there. So he's not having the greatest night. He was involved in an early wreck, and he is currently, looks like 41
26.
laps down.
26th.
Yeah, it looks like maybe a lap 1 or 2 wreck for him. So we'll actually see if we can't go back and get a look at what happened to him earlier.
Sorry to interrupt here, Andrew, but the number 2 of Mike Kelly is coming down pit road. Is this a possible green flag pit stop?
I was actually noticing some guys coming through the pits just a minute ago. You know what? They might be trying to split this race up in a way that Mike Kelly scheduled this, and we're going to see more come in because looks like Cody Spiker, Mike Montesi have made their way through the pits as well. So, and Josh Chaney actually for that, for a matter of fact, and Matthew Cox. So, actually they're a few laps down. So I'm not really sure. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. But going back through the field, we've got the number 67 of Blake O'Connell. He's actually coming into the pits. So yeah, that's a good call from you, Zach. They are making their green flag pit stop. So we'll go back to the run through the field after the green flag pit stops. Just that way, we're actually watching them as they race. But we'll cover this bit of strategy now as we see the number 67 come through the pits. Do you think maybe they're short pitting, or do you think this was planned from the start?
I don't know, because during that caution, that first caution that we had, they came in to pit at about lap 20 or about lap 16, about right there. So I don't know if the tank can hold. I believe it can hold more than 20 laps, but I think they might be short pitting to try to get a leg up on Chris Jennings here. Even some of the drivers that are mired in the back or that are in the hunt and in the back trying to get a leg up on him.
Real quick, hate to cut you short, but we got Joe Hudson, Jeff Gilmore. They have also pitted. Scott Brotherton. Let's see. Looks like that's all for now, or at the moment, we actually got Bradley Wilson in along with Scott Simley. Actually, no, they didn't come in. They went dark on my standings, on my standings thing there for just a second. They went dark, so I thought they were pitting. But we've had plenty of guys come through the pits, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Bradley Wilson come in here soon because he's currently running second. He was running fourth or fifth or sixth, somewhere around the top five. I'm not sure. The 4 green flag pit cycle started, so it'll be interesting to watch and see what he does along with Scott Simley in the 68. I feel like they could come in with it within the next couple of laps if they're wanting to go a little bit longer than the other guys, but get a leg on, up on the 88. Sorry. But back to how many laps these tanks can hold. These are smaller tanks than we normally see in the NASCAR trucks. They hold 14 gallons, I believe exactly, instead of 18.7 gallons. So I think it's 75% fuel of what they normally run. So it's a little bit less than normal, but it's still quite a bit. It's going to get you most of a normal run, obviously, just by doing basic math. We've got Scott Simley in the pits, actually. So we'll watch him as he comes down the pit road. But they don't run a full tank, so they're not going to go the normal about 50 laps I think these trucks can do on a mile and a half, but they can still get pretty close.
To about 50 laps, you're saying? Well, that's with the 100% fuel tank, but...
Right, so I would guess about 40 probably to a tank,
40 to a
if
tank.
not
Okay.
closer to 35.
And like I said, the last caution and the last time they came in was lap 16, so about lap 20. So that was about 30 laps ago. Chris Jennings could possibly be trying to run it dry. Same thing with Bradley Wilson. They both could be trying to run it dry and having the fresher tires to come back onto the field or come back out onto the track for and blow past the field. But I don't know. I don't know if the strategy is going to pay out. We're going to have to see if it does, though. For this first green flag pit stop.
I would guess these guys are probably going to fall back to no worse than the top 10. Bradley Wilson and Chris Jennings, whenever they do pit, I don't think they'll fall any further than the top 10. So if they can maintain that top 10 spot, I don't think they'll be too bad off, I guess. Even if they run it dry and run some extra laps, because then they'll still be in the top 10. They'll have better tires, and they won't have to deal with the long-run effects of the tires quite as quickly as everyone else. So they may be able to have better tires and open up a 2-tire pit stop strategy if we get a caution, because some of these guys are running on the older tires and trying to run it out in their second stint. So anything's possible, really. I mean, we see iRacers try. Yeah, we see iRacers try all kinds of different random strategies all the time. So this really could be any kind of move that they want. I mean, I wouldn't rule anything out. We're talking about iRacers here.
Very true. That's very true. Well, I mean, you were saying, some of the drivers might not, they won't fall out of the top 10. Bradley Wilson, Chris Jennings. Before the pit stops, Chris Jennings had a 4-second lead over second place of the time, which I believe was Joe Hudson. He had a 4-second lead.
Real quick, hate to interrupt you. We got the 08 in. That's another one of the drivers. He was he was 5th place. He was one of the only guys that was still on the track. So we only got 4. Those 4 guys are Chris Jennings, Bradley Wilson, Mike Perry, and Richard Fletcher. Go ahead.
Oh, like I was saying, these guys may be able to pick up not a little bit of time. Right now, Bradley Wilson he's lost a lot of track position to the guys that he was battling earlier. He's already, he just got passed by the 2 of Mike Kelly, who was one of the first ones down on pit road. He's just lost a position to him to not a position on track to 9th. So, it might be beneficial to start thinking about coming down now. I don't see the benefit of staying out, as the 88 looks like he's getting ready to come in. He is.
Well, these guys are going to have a problem getting down to speed, actually. I'm not sure if Chris Jennings is totally abiding by pit speed. I believe it's 45, isn't it? He's going down pits at 55.
Pit road speed is 45.
Now, this could be totally wrong, but the graphic we've got up for the driver references in the 50s, and I think it was wrong because it immediately dropped into the 40s, so maybe he was doing just fine. But as you mentioned, he's in. Bradley Wilson's still running, and I'll tell you why I like this move. If Bradley can open up the window to just do this one stop and go to the end, that's almost a race-winning move.
Well, speaking of him, he's coming in now.
So if these guys can run anywhere near 50 laps, Bradley has to try to just run it out. Realistically speaking, if he's going to have a shot at the win, that's probably his best move. Or another option is he can run this as far as he wants and then come in for 2 tires on a long green run and get something done that way. That way he's got the shorter pit stop and he can just get right back to the race. It'll be interesting to watch and see what happens. It really will. We've got Bradley Wilson already on the gas getting ready to leave his box. There he goes. As Blake O'Connell will assume the lead here due to this pit strategy. He's down the back straightaway with a whole really slew of guys around him. He's passing the slower Louis Robinette right now, but he's got Joe Hudson right on his tailgate.
Well, I understand that you like the strategy, and I can understand it too, but right now he's really banking on no caution. He's banking on this going green to the end. He came in on lap 57. There's 105 laps total in the race. He can make it to the end. If I'm not wrong, he should be able to make it to the end now. But that's banking on no cautions and constant green flag runs. If he gets stuck back here way in the back and a caution comes out, his strategy that he just ran all this time for really didn't pay out, in my opinion. It lost him positions, if anything.
Well, I think he was running a little bit slower that run to save the gas in order to do this. So, he's fully committed, and I like that move. I really have a bunch of respect for that kind of move.
I agree.
That's ballsy. He doesn't race here often. It's actually his first start, like we covered a little while earlier. So, in terms of trying to make something happen when you don't have much, that's got to be up there as far as one of the best moves to make. He is quite a ways back of the leaders now, but we have to watch his delta to Chris Jennings, and he was already running a while behind him. Currently, he's going to be about 19 seconds back, which isn't a huge loss compared to what he already was at. I think he was already about 15 seconds back just due to that run and him, I believe, trying to save some fuel. Maybe not running as hard, maybe trying to save his tires instead, but either way, I think he was trying to save something there to lengthen the run in order to do the second leg, and he did a great job of it, really.
Yeah.
He lost time, but you're going to do that running this kind of strategy. Now, he's got, he's up there with Chris Jennings as far as the best tires on the track, so he's currently racing for probably a third place spot. I don't think there's any way of denying that. It's going to be Chris Jennings, Bradley Wilson, and maybe one of the other guys that pitted real late, but that's if, like you said, if we go green. But I wouldn't put it past these guys. We saw a fuel mileage finish last week at Talladega, so these guys obviously know what they're doing. They're good. They can do it.
Yeah, I agree. My only question right now is why would Chris Jennings stay out that late? I mean, he's one of the fastest trucks. He was fastest in practice, qualified on pole. Had a 4-second lead before pit stops. Why really stay out that late? I mean, as soon as the first person came in, if he would have came in, he would have about an 8-second lead over current race leader Blake O'Connell.
Well, I think we're already starting to see that pay off. He's only a little ways behind current race leader Blake O'Connell, but and so he's easily going to get back to the lead. And then if these guys that pitted earlier have to come in again,
we got smoke on the track. The
Joe
12
Hudson,
of Joe
yeah,
Hudson.
Joe Hudson got in the wall hard. It looks like he's blowing up. He might have actually packed into somebody. I think maybe Blake O'Connell tagged the wall.
Yeah, Blake O'Connell tagged the wall. That was the pass for the lead right there. Chris Jennings back up to P1, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we're watching the
Chris
replay
Jennings
right now.
back to
Yeah,
P1.
Blake O'Connell did the same thing he did earlier. And not only Joe Hudson pounded into him, Jeff Gilmore as well. Like we were saying with Aiden Young, there's almost no reaction time. And as we saw there, that was detrimental to not one, but 3 drivers in total, really, as Chris Jennings is going to end up taking the lead back with ease. But we see Jeff Gilmore, Joe Hudson down the pits with serious engine problems, serious damage on the fronts of their trucks, and Blake O'Connell with damage to the right side, damage to the left rear. So really, I think that's just being a little bit too aggressive when you don't have anything to be aggressive with. I'll be honest. That's one of my guys, as I've covered before in these broadcasts. That's one of my guys, but I'll be honest, I think that was just trying to push it with not nearly enough to push it with. These guys have been running 20 laps already.
I agree, but whatever question mark I had about Chris Jennings staying out that long just flew out the window. With him passing the leaders like that, he now has the freshest tires out on the track. Mine is Bradley Wilson, who came in with him, but Bradley is 20 seconds behind him. Whatever question I had about that strategy is just flown out the window right now. As he retakes the lead, he's put about a 3-second lead over Blake O'Connell.
And not to cut you off short, but this is exactly why I like their move to go longer. Mike Kelly back in the pits. So already,
so he came in. Yeah, he came in at about lap 40 last time, if I'm not wrong. So this is part of his strategy.
And that's exactly why I like the move by the 88 and the 66 to try this one-stop strategy from that previous caution. If they make it work, I mean, caps off to them. I mean, I can't believe they're making it work so far. It's kind of absurd to me to run that long, risking, I mean, like you expressed concern with, risking the times, but it's going to work out for Chris Jennings and likely for Bradley Wilson as long as he manages that delta. Because while he's running slower to make his strategy work, it looks like maybe he was running his tires off a little too quickly. Maybe he's just not quite up to pace with the 88. I'm not sure. I mean, to be fair, the 88's been quicker everywhere we've gone than most anyone in the field. So that very well could be all that it is. But he's got to manage the delta back to the guys now with tires. So we'll have to watch out for that and see if over the next 37 laps Bradley Wilson stays ahead of those guys with new tires or falls behind, because he is, like you said, 22 seconds now back of the lead of Chris Jennings, and that's getting dangerously close to a whole lap.
Yeah, these guys are running about 31-second lap times about every time, so Bradley is just under 10 seconds away from the leader, which is behind him. Chris Jennings has picked up about a 4/10 of a second every lap on him so far, so Chris Jennings, I feel like, isn't really holding anything back. I think he knows he can go all the way to the end. Bradley might be holding just a little something back just in case, but yeah, like you said, it's starting to get really dangerous for Brad. He is in the top 5. Right now, the top 6 are the only ones on the lead lap. After that, Mike Perry will be 7th, 1 lap down, but like you said, it's starting to get into some dangerous territory for the 66.
For sure. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break because we've gone really a remarkable distance under green. If you've run any C-Fixed races on iRacing this week, you'll know a lot of guys have been running real aggressive. So this is nice to see this change in pace from the Kansas truck races to this. Long green run here. These guys are trying to stretch it out, at least Chris Jennings and Bradley Wilson. We have some other guys like Blake O'Connell on a totally different plan, trying to make it work for him. So We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
In this cauldron of fiery wills and burning competition, rivalries heat up quicker. This is an oval of stolen victories and crushed dreams, filled with volumes of unfinished business. Sooner or later, you all become rivals. With everyone fighting over one finish line, there's never enough glory to go around.
And welcome back. We're still green flag racing, still just watching Chris Jennings check out on the field like normal, but tell you what, this strategy for Bradley P. Wilson is already paying off. Bradley P. Wilson up to number 2. Scott Simley currently running 3rd, but he is in the pits right now, so we'll have to wait and see just what goes on with the pit stop cycling through. We saw various guys actually fall victim to just various circumstances, guys getting in the wall, guys packing into each other, but no caution. So we've had really 2 wrecks that stick out in my mind, but like I said, no caution over the last, I think, 70 laps or so. Not 70 laps. How many have we gone?
We've gone 76.
76.
Yes, sir.
All right, there you have it. That's incredible. So, anyways.
Well, as we kind of look at the standings here, the only 2 on the lead lap right now are Chris Jennings and Bradley Wilson, the 2 who stayed out the longest. Now, my question is, are they going to make it? Last week, Chris Jennings was in the same kind of situation if he was going to make it to the end, and he did not. He fell about 2 laps short of the finish. Would he be trying to go to the end right now, do you think? I mean, we still got about a good 28 laps to go.
Well, I mean,
you think he's going to make it?
He has to be going for it at this point. There's no backing out of this strategy. Backing out of this strategy would have been 60 laps to go. So there's no backing out of it now. They've got to do what they got to do at this point. Nothing's going to change in their favor aside from what they caused the change. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out for the 66 and the 88. I think it's a surefire win if they can go the distance for the 88, unless something really odd happens, because we haven't seen anything get in his way all night. Literally, the 3 that were ahead of him just a little while ago cleared themselves out of the way. So no one's been in his way all night. That 88 has been free to just run and run fast like he always does. I think at this point he's only solidifying himself as a favorite for the championship.
I agree. Talladega kind of bit him last week, as we were saying. He tried to go in and win it on fuel strategy. He was one of the dominant trucks. Just fuel strategy bit him. He's currently on the outside looking in by 1 position. But the thing going through my head right now is we saw him come in at about lap 55, I believe, 55, 56. Bradley Wilson stayed out an extra lap. So should Chris Jennings maybe be half a lap short or something like that, Bradley Wilson could possibly be good to the end of the race if this comes down to that kind of thing. Now, Chris Jennings could have been saving. He could have been running slower than what he was averaging, but again, this could come down to fuel strategy. It looks like it is. Do you think it could bite the 88 again, possibly putting him deeper in a hole, or do you think this is going to play out in his favor and get him a W to go on to Homestead?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think he's got to be the favorite to win. I mean, plain and simple, if this race goes green and he did what he had to do, he's pretty much got the win in the bag. He just has to be careful not to hit the wall or get into some kind of odd trouble. But, I think really this is what does it for him. He right away just we're back to a track that suits his style of driving, and immediately to the lead, dominating the whole race. I think there's no question about it. I mean, he's basically the Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr. all in one reincarnate over here, at least for the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series. I even see him in other leagues going out there and winning races. So I think there's no question about it. He's got to be the favorite, if not at least, if not only for tonight, then for the season. I don't think there's any touch in him as a whole. You can obviously, I mean, we've seen guys beat him one race or another, and that's going to happen.
Right.
The best car, the best driver doesn't always win, but oftentimes the best driver, the best car ends up winning the championship. And that's not always true. Anything can happen at Homestead with this format, but I dare say that number 88 is going to come into Homestead with a full head of steam based on this race. We've also got Texas and Phoenix coming up. Texas, I feel like, is another one where you have to bet on the number 88, if not also at Phoenix. So I hate to just praise one driver over the others, but in reality, you have to in this case.
I mean, I see what you're saying, and I agree that 88, every time I've pretty much been up here broadcasting with you, has been talk of the town. He's been up leading laps. He's been, put his name right where it should be, and, it's paid off. I was looking at his stats. He has 8 wins, 16 top 5s, and 16 top 10s. I mean, that's pretty impressive. That is very impressive, but I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I feel like if he's going to be beat, there are a few drivers that can beat him. Now, I don't know him by name, but I feel like sometimes it could bite him himself, like strategy-wise, it could bite him. We saw it at Talladega. Now, I hate to keep benching on Talladega, but...
sorry to interrupt, but we've got Bradley Wilson in the pits. That strategy didn't work out for him. That's going to backfire entirely, so we could be looking at a very different race from what we were just calling.
I agree.
I think that may spell disaster for the 88 team if the 66 pitting right there was based on the strategy and not some other factor.
And Bradley
he comes in for
only
2
took
tires
2.
and he's gone. Yeah. So that second option for him that I was mentioning, coming in real quickly, filling it up with just a little bit of gas, getting those 2 tires on, that's what he chose to go with. He's going to lose a spot to Mike Kelly, but he may be able to get that back. Mike Kelly is currently run 20 laps on his set of tires as we see Bradley Wilson go a second lap down. So that's actually going to be a few more spots, but he may be able to get a few of those back over the run. However, I want to turn our attention, since we just talked about Bradley Wilson, to our other 2 NRA supporters on the night. We expected to talk to them, but we didn't get enough cautions throughout the midpoint of the race to get a word with them. In fact, we didn't get any cautions, so we're going to take a quick look to them. It's going to be Mike Kelly in the number 2, currently running second place. He's been putting on a show that we haven't seen, I would say. We've been focusing mostly on Chris Jennings just because, he's out there really doing what he normally does. He's dominating.
I mean, he's the only one on the lead lap as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's putting on a very, I guess, Martin Truex 2016-2017-esque run right now. Martin Truex Jr., if you don't normally watch NASCAR, at Dover last year in the chase, ended up putting all but 5 other cars a lap down and winning the race. So, unless I'm recalling differently, I may be recalling differently, but I believe
you're correct. You're correct.
I'm spot on there. So, it's kind of really just a Martin Truex Jr.-esque run from Chris Jennings right now. But as we get to the other in-race supporter we're going to have for tonight, that's going to be David Dolliver. He's currently running 3 laps down. Obviously got into some early trouble, but he is doing what he can to just salvage what he can out of this run in the number 23 Chevy Silverado. Like we said, currently 3 laps down, running 13th, so it's not the run he wants, obviously, but 13th isn't anything to be totally ashamed of when you have this kind of trouble. He can still reasonably get a decent amount of points and take that home. And
as we look, the 88's
satisfied.
coming into the pits. He's sliding in. He got it corrected, but the 88 down pit road.
Yeah, and it's gonna be something to watch now that basically the Delta back to the 2 and the 67. I think the 67's somewhat out of range of the 88, but reasonably speaking, I think that 2 is going to be challenging the 88 here. That 2 may have had the best strategy from the start. We saw 36 laps that time out of Chris Jennings. And currently, as we near 15 to go, Mike Kelly has put 25 on his tires. So
And the 88 is putting 4 tires on, not just 2. He's putting a whole 4 on.
yeah, so this is really a very unique strategy run from Chris Jennings as he leaves the pits. He will fall.
And the 2
not
will
yet.
take the lead. No,
Has
the
he?
2 has taken the lead. Yeah, he's coming out of
Yeah,
turn
he's down the back
2
straightaway.
now.
The 67, I think, also may have gone by. We'll have to check on that. And we've got a caution.
Caution's out. And this changes everything.
As we'll search around for it. Do you know where that one was, Zach?
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Are you?
I'm not currently, and I'm looking around, trying to find something.
Might have been the 23 of David Dolliver. Sure. Oh, the 12. It was the 12. Let me find
Wow,
his
yeah,
number.
sorry. My mic was muted when I called it out. That was the 12 of Joe Hudson. Went spinning. We'll have to see the beginning
He got
of
on
that.
the apron. He got on the apron and just lost the back end of the truck. Right side barely taps the wall, but he lost the back end of the truck.
So we'll watch Joe Hudson here, and then we're going to get a talk with Mike Kelly as we can. After we see what happens here to the number 12 of Joe Hudson, our Charlotte Motor Speedway winner. We're going to see what happens here. He was running second when he had a bit of an issue with the 67. The 67 got in the wall, and Joe had nowhere to go but into the back of him. And yeah, like you said, just got on the apron through 3 and 4, lost it, came back at the track, barely into the wall. Nothing to be worried about aside from, the tires. Obviously flat spotted.
Right.
iRacing probably doesn't have the capacity for flat spotting tires. It's still going to hurt the tires nonetheless.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Well-
as these guys exit the pits, that changes everything, really. It does. But we're going to get a talk with Mike Kelly, hopefully. Let's move him down here. Interview waiting. We'll move him on up and let you take the reins here in a second, Zach.
Alrighty. Mike Kelly, this is Zach Lindgren up in the PSI booth. Do you got a copy?
I gotcha.
Alrighty, bud. Well, you've ran a great race. You've had a great strategy. A strategy that kind of flew under the radar as we were kind of watching it. And as soon as that caution came out, it played perfectly into your hands. My question right now is, did you intend for this to happen? I know we didn't intend for the caution to come out, but was this your strategy coming in, or did you just kind of make it up on the fly? You were one of the first ones down to pit road, so...
He may be speaking with teammates through iRacing. Not totally certain.
I believe
Yeah,
he's on all teams
He's
right
on
now.
the mic.
Sorry about that.
No, you're okay. You're all right.
Let me start over. I'm not sure I wanted that yellow or not. We'll see. I missed pit road in my first stop, so I had to go around, so that cost me some time. So then after that, I just tried to mix it up, and I pitted again really early, just at the time when I could make it on a full tank, and took 2 tires. And it seemed like it was working pretty good, and I inherited the lead there. And I don't know if he was going to be, I don't know what he did as far as what he took there just a few laps ago, but, he probably would have ran me down, but I'm not sure. I don't know how many tires he took.
Well, we're not really going to disclose the strategy as of right now. Might be able to see it on the replay, but the strategies put you back in second. or put you in second. It gave you the lead there for just a little while. I mean, do you think you got anything for the 88? Earlier in the race, you were able to run down the 12, who was running down the 88 at one point. So do you think you got anything for him right now? He's led pretty much every lap, so do you got anything?
Well, if he took 4 tires there, he's only got a few laps on him. But I mean, they drop off drastically every single lap, and I do have a clean truck and 4 fresh tires, so we'll see how he runs.
Alrighty, man. Well, we hope the best for you, man. I believe you are in the chase right now. You're on the outside looking in. Hope you can get the W, and hope we'll be talking to you at the end of the race.
With the broadcast, we're coming back slowly. Looks like you got Mike taken care of there, getting him back into his channel. But yeah, we had a bit of a moment there. It froze up and everything. So we're coming back. We're coming back for the restart, and we are going to, well,
the 88 jumps on it instantly.
Yeah, I was going to try and give that call to you there, Zach, but they're already on it. So we'll have to watch and see as this next 10 laps evolves here. Currently, Chris Jennings right back to what he was doing, off into a huge lead out through turns 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. Mike Kelly, Blake O'Connell battling behind him for P2. We've got Scott Simley, Mike Montesi, and Bradley P. Wilson all under a blanket.
Well, I think the 88 had a smart move there. As soon as the pace car dove in, he took off. He needed that lead over the 2 and the 67, who could have possibly challenged him for it, as the 2 does gain a little bit on him there coming out of 4, but I mean, the 88 needed every advantage he needs as we get ready to come down to 5 to go here.
Yeah, I mean, 9 to go right now. These guys are in the closing laps. They're in the final stages. These guys have to be putting everything on the line at the moment. We're going to go to our digger cam that we showed a couple of times through that last run. We'll hit this one right here as the field comes by the start-finish line. Full speed right there. And then the second one in turn 1. Kind of a nice addition, I thought, this week. Hopefully we'll be getting him set up for
everybody
the
likes
rest of
the
the
digger
season.
cam.
Yeah, everybody likes the digger cam. Hopefully we can get some kind of animation up there as well. I might have to change the name so Fox doesn't come after us, but for now anyways, we've got Chris Jennings still out front by about a third of a second, it looks like, over Mike Kelly. Bradley Wilson another second behind Mike Kelly in third. Then it goes to Blake O'Connell, Scott Simley, then Cody Spiker and Blake O'Connell. So maybe Blake O'Connell with another problem. I know we've seen him hit the wall. I know he has damage to the back end. It could be really hurting him.
Yeah, right now he's just getting challenged, and I think from what I've seen, he's got a little bit of right front and back end damage, so that could be hurting him.
Yeah, I would guess maybe
sorts out behind Mike Montesi.
I would guess maybe that hit to the back end of the truck really did a number on the probably the drivetrain, transmission up into the engine block. You just have to assume that getting pounded in the back end like that is going to do something to your car mechanically, because he was hit twice really hard. And, it's not in the critical engine area, but if everything in the back end gets crunched up, of course, there's the drivetrain back there, and that can lead to some issues through the rest of the motor. Mike Kelly, though, trying to do what he can. He's closing in on the 88.
He actually gained a lot.
Yeah, he's made up a 10 since the last time we talked about him.
The 88 goes high, the 2 goes low. The 2's trying to get to his inside, and he looks like he might just be there on his bumper. We got a battle for the lead.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work, because that's really risky business. So we see Chris Jennings move down to take the air off the number 2, but there was still enough air down on the bottom.
Right on his bumper,
here he goes to the bottom. He's going to have the nose. He's going to have the position off into turn 1. Put Mike Kelly in the first.
If he could keep the truck down,
I'll tell you what. Here comes
like he's cleared.
Here comes
the 88 sticking high on the high side.
Yeah, he was definitely trying a classic slide job. It didn't work out. Never got him cleared, but. You know what? If these guys battle long enough and hard enough, Bradley P. Wilson might be one to talk about as these
he's just lurking
right
down. There.
Yeah, he's closing in. That's 2 tenths already made up as Mike Kelly continues to do battle with Chris Jennings, but it's going to be harder and harder as laps wind down to be able to do that on the bottom side like he's doing. Digging like Dale had say, it gets tough because you immediately wear your tires out, so he's going to have to lay back a second and mount another run as we see Bradley Wilson fall out of the clutches of these guys once more as they get single file and go back to just running. We're coming to 2 to go this time, though, so I mean, Mike Kelly can't waste any time now getting back to mounting a
He's
run
got
on
to
the
get right
88.
back to him.
Yeah, right here this lap, and he's a couple tenths behind. It's going to be hard to do anything now.
I mean, we were talking to the 2, though. He said that he does have a little bit of fresher tires than the 88, but maybe he ran him off just a little bit trying to run the low line to get up onto the 88. He did get up onto him, but he might have ran him off trying to pass him.
Yeah, you know, it's a delicate thing trying to balance tires and speed here because you can go fast for a few laps like we just saw Mike Kelly do, but immediately you run the tires off. And white flag this time as Chris Jennings is pulling back away from the number 2 of Mike Kelly and the 66 of Bradley Wilson.
What happens this time? Yeah. 88's going to stay high. The 2's looking low. 88's going to have a good run out of turns 1 and 2.
And for the final time through turns 3 and 4, Chris Jennings, he's put a walloping on the field once more. This is going to be win number 9 on the season. Chris Jennings out of turn 4, ahead of Mike Kelly, takes the win in the Kansas 105 here in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series.
We had a battle for third coming to the line. Scott Simley tried to take it away from Bradley P. Wilson. Bradley barely holds on to it, but Chris Jennings is your winner tonight. If I'm not mistaken, he just put himself into the championship 4.
Yeah, that should do it right there. That should get him comfortably into Homestead as your championship leader, I would assume, after tonight. We'll throw up the standings coming into tonight's event as we queue up some guys to talk to after the race.
So as we go through our top 10, as Andrew's kind of situating everyone right now, Chris Jennings, as you saw and as you heard, he is your tonight's race winner here at the ASSR League. I believe that's correct. Mike Kelly will be second, Bradley P. Wilson third, Scott Simley fourth, Cody Spiker fifth, Mike Montesi sixth, Joey Katina in seventh, Blake O'Connell eighth, Matthew Miller ninth, and Mike Perry 10th.
And coming home 11th is going to be Mike Payton in the number 08, followed by his teammate Richard Fletcher in the 43 and 12th. And David Oliver, one of our in-race reporters tonight, out of New England, finishes 13th in the number 23. Louis Robinette, out of the Mid-South, finishes 14th. Joe Hudson in 15th with a couple of problems there like we noted. Jeff Gilmore going to come home 33 laps down out of Canada in the 16th position. Doug McCullum, out of Indiana, going to finish 17th. Jeremy Rittenberg in 18th. Josh Cheney in 19th. And finally, rounding out your top 20, going to be Randy Roberts from Ohio, finishing 20th. I'll give it to you, Zach.
Alrighty. Well, finishing out the field will be Kurt Rittenberg 21st, Scott Brotherton 22nd, 23rd will be Matthew Cox, 24th Aiden Young, 25th Jeff Schweiss. I'm sorry if I butchered that name again. James McKee 26. He'll be your final finisher tonight.
All right, and with that sorted out, we're going to move up the first driver we're going to get to talk to tonight. That's going to be David Dolliver. David Dolliver, this is Andrew up in the booth. You have a copy.
How you doing, Andrew?
Pretty good myself. Hopefully you're keeping your spirits high after a run out there like tonight. Maybe not what you wanted, of course, being in the championship battle, but, I mean, you did what you could, obviously, just like any other week. So hopefully you can get back to it next week at Texas, or at least next time we're out here at Texas. But what can you tell us about your run tonight?
Well, I got a speeding penalty, and that kind of threw me back into 13th. I had my pit strategy with the fuel mileage, and I thought, I'd gotten up to 6th, I think, and I probably would have got in the top 8 or so, but it's the way it goes.
For sure. Well, as we move forward, there's not a whole lot to talk about tonight, I suppose, but as we move forward to Texas and Phoenix, the final 2 races of round 2, What's your plan? Are you going to be on all-out attack or just trying to points race?
I think it's go time, so I'll be qualifying and trying to run up front as much as I can.
For sure. Well, hopefully you have some better luck at those two races. Definitely want to see you get to the Final Four if you can. But until then, we're going to let you go catch up with your team and look to the next couple of races. It's been nice talking with you. Didn't get to talk to you during the race, unfortunately. There just weren't enough caution through the mid part of the race, but we'll definitely make sure to catch up with you in future races, bud.
All right, Andrew. Thanks for the coverage. I appreciate it.
And as we wrap that one up, we're going to pull aside third place finisher Bradley P. Wilson. Bradley, this is Andrew from Booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I mean, you certainly put on a show for being your first time in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series. Kind of mired back there in qualifying, maybe not where you wanted to start. Looks like about 18th, definitely not where you wanted to start, but you pulled some strategy there in that long green run to put yourself in a good position coming into that 10-lap run with that caution. So what can you tell us about your truck tonight and how your race went?
Oh, well, we got behind the 8-ball, like you said, in qualifying. 18th is not really where we wanted to start. We got the wall on our first lap and had to redo, but it was going to be a hill or a hole to climb out of. Just tried our best to do it. Had some good, truck felt pretty good all night. I'd like to thank all the guys at Oil Can Hancock's and Lane Frost Brands for being on the truck. But yeah, no, good race. Had a lot of fun with these guys for the first night out. We'll take home a strong third for sure. And we're just happy to get the finish we got. And that caution, we played that strategy there, and I didn't really know how it was going to work out. I just took 2 and a little fuel and prayed for the best, and then when we got that caution, we were able to pick off a few more there at the end.
For sure. Well, hopefully we see you back in some future races here in the Manifold Truck Series. Certainly a great run for you and your team. Anyone else you want to thank tonight?
Oh yeah, just thank these guys for letting me come race with them. They put on an awesome show, and thank my beautiful wife as always for letting me do this thing, and you guys up in the booth, man, you'll do a great job.
All right, well, thank you very much, sir. We're going to move you back down in TeamSpeak. Hope to see you in future races.
Yes, sir. 10-4. Thanks, Andrew.
And Zach, I'll let you catch up once more with Mike Kelly, our second place finisher tonight.
Alrighty. Mike Kelly, this is Zach up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I'm going to push the right button this time.
Alright. Yeah, we were a little confused last time. We didn't know what was going on.
Oh, I was talking. I just was not talking to you guys.
we heard you in all teams, and we were like, all right, he wants to do it in there. But no, you come home P2 tonight. You had a really good run. Like we were talking to you earlier. You had a run on the 88 there on the low side there for a little bit, and you kind of fell off. Just give us a summary of your night as a whole so far. Like, yeah.
Well, like I said there, I after we had that first early yellow, I don't know what I did wrong, but I just burned it up really bad, and I was falling back, as you guys probably saw. So then, like I said, I missed pit road, and I had to go back around again, and I just mixed everything up, and I really didn't think I was going to have a chance at all, except for maybe a top 5 is what I was kind of shooting for. So that's why I pulled that kind of odd strategy, but obviously, he took 4 tires there on his last stop, and it was just enough for him to stay ahead. I led 1 lap, but it was 2 laps too early, and then I just used it up. All he had to do was go to the high side, and I had nothing left for him. And I'm assuming since he had 4 and there was, 12, 13 laps there, he probably would have ate up my 5 or 6 second gap pretty easily there. But good run, considering everything that went on. I'll take it.
Yeah, man, you had a really good run. You had a strong P2. That's a strong P2 after everything you had to overcome right there at the beginning, missing pit road and everything like that. But yeah, you had a really strong truck going. At one point, I thought you were going to be able to clear the 88 coming out of 2.
It was close.
It was really close. I thought you were just going to be able to edge him out, but
I thought
and-
about pulling a Kyle Larson there, but it's like, I think we're going to both wreck if I do that. So I just drove nice.
there you go. Hey, well, I mean, that didn't hurt you at all, too. You still came home P2.
Yeah, and he was just telling me that locked him into the chase. So there's probably a few people wishing I would have ran him into the wall there, but.
All right, man. Well, before we wrap up this interview, congrats on the P2. Is there anyone you want to thank out there tonight?
Mostly just you guys for doing the broadcast. Always appreciate that. They're fun to watch after the race. And my teammate, Scott Simley, and then our honorary teammate, Joe Hudson, was in there, and he brought out that last yellow. I don't know if I should thank him or smack him for that. But, yeah, we had a good run. Tonka Trucks, Tonka Tough ran really hard tonight. And an associate sponsor, and Sarah, Kelly, and Sewell. I was not running their truck tonight. They helped me out a lot this year with sponsorship. So I'd like to thank all those guys.
All righty, bud. Well, we thank you for the compliments on us tonight. You put on one heck of a show, finishing P2. We hope the best for you next week, bud.
Thanks, guys. I hope it was fun to watch.
Sure it was. Thank you.
All right, and real quick, before we catch up with our race winner, I'm going to go ahead and bring Jeremy Rittenberg in. Jeremy, we didn't see you at all really tonight until mid-race. We had a couple technical issues in the first part. Unfortunately, those gremlins like to show themselves a little too often, so what can you tell us about your run tonight, even if it was a bit short?
Oh, I had some work to catch up on, and knew if once I got back I could get in and at least get a couple points. I didn't know quite that many dropped out. And, as I kept running, I just wanted to log some laps, and at least salvage some points tonight. I wish I could have been here for the whole thing. I felt fast. As long as them green flags were going, I figured I could have maybe contended on this one.
All right, well, I'm getting word regarding the chase standings currently. Looks like you're going to end up leaving Kansas Speedway in second place, so by all means, still a decent run for you, I guess, as far as getting points, at least what you can. 18th place run on the night. I mean, obviously, that's not very fantastic, but, I mean, I know at least if I was in your position, I'd be taking it, considering it sounds like you had a couple real-life things to sort out there. So, real quick, is there anyone you want to shout out as you head into the last two rounds of the second round of the chase?
No, absolutely. All our admins, for everybody just pitching in, trying to keep everything going here. You guys coming out every week, broadcasting us. Oliver, Scott B. Images helping us put all this on. Everything's really coming together really nicely. Everyone's kind of gelling together, and every week just seems like it keeps getting better and better. So I hope we continue this trend and just keep getting the fields bigger and more green flag runs.
For sure. Well, we're gonna let you catch up with your team once more. Thanks for taking the time here. Even after maybe not a great points run, it's going to keep you where you need to be for the chase. So hopefully we get to talk to you next time out at Texas Motor Speedway. Until then, though, I'll let you get back with your team.
Thank you, guys.
And finally, before we close up tonight's show, Zach Lindgren, I believe you have race winner Chris Jennings.
Yes, sir. This is Zach up in the booth. Chris, you got a copy.
Yeah, hey, Zach.
And you put on one heck of a dominating show tonight. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little skeptical on your strategy there towards the middle of the race to stay out all those laps. But, man, you made it work. You made it look easy. And you made it fun to watch. My first question, I guess, is did you come up with that strategy on the fly? Did you have it before you even got into the race? What was your mindset coming in?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking I can almost make it on one stop since we had that cautions early there. So I was kind of leaning towards that. And then I knew even if I stayed out, I'd have so much fresher tires than everybody else. I could get back up there pretty soon, then maybe short pitted on the end or something. But changed my mind at the last minute there and went in and got 4 fresh tires and came out second. And then the caution came out, so at least I had 4 fresh tires, was able to stay out. Worked out.
And speaking of that caution, you had that 4 fresh tires. The 2 took over the lead. And that's when you came out, and that's when the caution came out. Do you see that caution as kind of like a saving grace, or do you think you would have been able to run back down the 2 should it have stayed green all the way towards the end?
I think I could have ran him back down. I was watching him behind me, and that's kind of what made me decide to go in. He was like 4 seconds back or something, and so I knew I'd come out second or third, but with 4 fresh tires, I think those guys had some pretty good laps on those tires, so I'm still pretty confident getting back up there.
And we hear you. After last week at Talladega, you had a good run going. Field strategy bit you a little bit there. Was that in the back of your mind at all during this strategy? Trying to stay out, run it as long as you can, because I thought you were gonna just try to bank it on 1 pit stop and keep going from there. But last week at Talladega, was that in your mind at all, or were you just focused on what you were gonna do and how you were gonna do it?
Well, I definitely wasn't going to run out of fuel this time. That's for sure. I learned my lesson last week. So, no, I figured there was a couple things going for me. If a caution would have came out, there'd have been a lot of cars a lap down, and I had a pretty good lead. So I figured at least worst come to worst, to just go in and get a couple gallons of fuel and no tires and come back out.
Yeah, well, it played out perfectly in your hands. Congrats on the win tonight. I believe you lock yourself permanently into the Final Four tonight for the championship. Congrats on that. Before we let you go off this interview, is there anyone you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank All Star Sim Racing for just putting on such a good show, and you guys for coming aboard and broadcasting it. It makes it a lot of fun to watch it later. And yeah, thank you to Kurt and Jeremy and Scott and the whole league. I mean, league's great to race with. So.
All right. Well, we thank you for the kind words, and it looks like a really fun league to race in. If I wasn't broadcasting, I'd probably be racing in it myself. But hey, man, congrats on the win tonight. Congrats on locking yourself into the championship 4. We look forward to seeing you next week at Texas, in the same old fashion. Good luck next week, bud.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, Zach, for that. And as we close the show down, do want to give you a recap of the chase situation. Coming in, Jeremy Rittenberg, Kurt Rittenberg, Jeremy Bazemore, and David Dolliver were your top 4 in the standings. We didn't see that one truck, actually, tonight. We did see the other 3. So, leaving Kansas, these are going to be your top 4 in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series chase. Chris Jennings, obviously, in with the win, like Zach, like he covered. So he's perfectly safe, but second through third is going to be occupied by the same drivers that were already in the top 4. Jeremy Rittenberg, David Dolliver, and Kurt Rittenberg. Those 3 are still in. So the 2 brothers and Double D are still in.
Double D.
Double D, yeah, Matt Skipper a few weeks ago gave him that name. So I believe it was Skipper at Chicago. So that's your current situation. Not sure on the numbers there behind that, but those are the guys that are currently in. Everyone else, Mike Perry, Jeremy Bazemore, Doug McCullum, and Matthew Cox currently on the outside looking in as we head into the last 2 races of round 2. Real quick, if you made it this far, I want to thank you for watching, and if you haven't already liked our Facebook page at facebook.com/pitstoptv/, I suggest you do so, and maybe even, leave us a review. That's certainly helpful, but for real, though, just want to thank everyone who watches week in, week out. Definitely do appreciate it. Whether you watch the NASCAR streams trying to help out anyone who maybe can't already catch it, or these iRacing League races, It really does mean more than you would ever know, as we've almost already eclipsed 500 likes on Facebook in just a couple of months of operation. So, once more, thanks everyone for supporting us. And Zach, I'll let you take us out.
Well, I just want to thank everyone who tuned in tonight to watch this awesome race. I know I had a good time. I hope everyone watching at home did also have a good time. We apologize at the beginning of it. After a little bit of mix up with the cameras and everything, I hope everyone still enjoyed listening to me. But no, I just want to thank everyone for watching tonight. I want to thank ASSR for letting us up here and broadcast this awesome league. This was awesome to watch. I hope we brought you the same excitement as last week, and we hope you join us again next week.
For sure, I completely echo you there, Zach. So, aside from that, we're going to have to let everyone go for the night. I can't say for sure whether or not we'll have anything for you on Saturday evening, but we will certainly try to have a stream for everyone of some dirt racing Saturday evening from the NMNTS Dirt Series. If not, we will be back next Thursday, I think. No, that's incorrect. Next Thursday, I believe these guys have an off week because they do follow the NASCAR schedule. So, I believe we have an off week next week. I could be wrong, but stay tuned on the Facebook page to keep track of that. These races, this one actually is going to hopefully go up in the morning as we do record and then archive to YouTube. So, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and check out our Facebook page. That's where we stream these for now. That may be changing for 2018. And we will have some more information as far as to what our 2018 plans are here soon. If you want to rent us out, Zach and I over at PSI TV, it's $5 if it's going to be a multi-race deal for the rest of 2017 since we're brand new. So $5 a race. I mean, I don't think you can beat that right now. So once more, $5 a race through December 31st, 2017 if it's going to be multi-race. $10 otherwise, and we can talk about payment plans if need be. And then 2018, we're going to introduce our very similar but more permanent pricing plan. So hopefully you at least consider it. If you are looking for a broadcast on iRacing, do give us a holler over on our Facebook page. We're going to be getting to Twitter and hopefully Instagram here soon just to connect with everyone. But for now, I think after that long spiel right there, I'm going to let everyone go. Wish you all a good night, and we will get back with you next time.
Bye!